other dude.
No,
You're like,
most of the time, all right. What other dude? There's only one.
I don't know.
There's only one co-host
said it
at
right
chaoticsports.com and the Chaotic Sports Podcast. Let's get started. My name's Chris Sarda. This is my co-host, Angelo Saboro. We also got Zachary Sarda running around, babbling, grabbing stuff, probably grabbing the phone. That's the kind of podcast you run around here. It's not a real... This isn't even real.
It is real.
The information that we give is not even right. Like, sometimes we just give false information.
No, that is not true at all.
For example, the Blazers beat Golden State last night.
In Portland, the millions of people wanted that to happen, and they thought that was true, and then it wasn't. Then they experienced a reality.
This is Chaotic Sports. You can find us at Chaotic Sports on Twitter. chaoticsports.com. You can find me at Chris Sarda on Twitter. And we're just gonna bullshit talk about sports. We were just listening. Thousands and thousands of people listened last week to the beginning of the show. Unfortunately, we probably can't do the same greatness in that show. Last week, at the beginning of the show, Zachary took a dump while we were doing the show. We had to take a stop back. Now Zachary's here again, but he took a dump earlier, so it's unlikely that he gets it. We get another live dump on the show. I don't know how we can ever repeat that.
You can't replicate that or recreate.
It's probably the best the show's ever been.
No, not many people. Not many studios has gotten live dumps like while they're doing a podcast.
Very rare. Yeah,
you don't get it.
The FCC would probably make you cancel that
if it was real.
What do you mean it was real?
No, I'm just saying
it was a real dump, dude. I changed it.
No, I know it was a real dump. I saw the dog smell them. I mean, we saw it.
Anyway, lots to talk about today. Lots of strands of NBA. I want to talk a little baseball. We probably won't talk fighting, even though I keep saying I want to talk about fighting every episode. We're just not talking about UFC and stuff. But the big news this week, at least the most entertaining news, was the NBA draft lottery. Odds were, even though they made sure the odds came a lot closer, everyone was assuming that the Knicks were probably going to get the first pick in the draft. It seemed like the best place for Zion to go as far as marketing.
Wanted that.
The NBA probably definitely did want it. What ended up happening was...
Well, what was the top four? Because then you saw that the Lakers jumped up.
The Lakers, they weren't in the top four, but they were in the bottom, the four that were left.
That's what I mean. So the top four at the end.
At the end,
so then you would think, oh man, Zion going to the Lakers or Knicks.
Towards the end
like
there,
the NBA's top two picks.
After that final break, with it being the Knicks and the Lakers, it seemed destined that one of those teams were going to get Zion, and it was just going to be some BS big team stuff. But it ended up being the New Orleans Pelicans, and as they are losing their one transcendent player that they got 4 years ago, they're getting another transcendent player, and no one's going to give a shit. No one really watched Anthony Davis, unfortunately, in his career because he's on a bad team. He wasn't on national TV very much.
Zion left the draft like lottery, how Embiid left his last game on the court.
Oh yeah,
crying, running to the locker room.
Yeah, so there's some fake news for you.
He's going to be happy. No,
he didn't cry. For real,
he was
just fucking around. Yeah,
he didn't cry, but who didn't cry? Embiid cried.
No, Embiid did. I'm saying
Zion just had the face of a crier, but he was on the verge of crying. That's not fake news at all. He looked mad.
Basically, one of the worst teams he could have possibly been.
He wasn't happy at all.
Yeah,
I mean, how this guy just got drafted by a team. That's what he wanted his whole life. That's what he probably dreamt about.
He thought he was going to be a Knick.
No, but I'm saying it happened. He actually got drafted in the NBA, but the money that he lost, he thought he was going to go to New York and he would probably get way more endorsements. He's still going to be big.
You're going to be, you're in a big spot, and you had a chance to be, if you could still be the sort of the face of the NBA. I mean, but Anthony Davis, what he could be as far as marketing he's not even touched it because he plays in such a small market. The
market is like the 50th biggest market in the country.
It's the second smallest market in the NBA. So I guess the smallest might be
Grizzlies.
Is it Memphis? Yeah, it is Memphis.
Sure.
Yeah, and
I think
no, Memphis makes sense. And so and it's not even like he gets the chance to play with Anthony Davis because he basically demanded to be traded. So mix that in. It's like now you're just going to be the new Anthony Davis.
If Anthony Davis even wanted to stay, aren't all the fans and everybody so mad at him now?
Yeah, I think the bridge is burnt. In the back of my head, I was like, man, do you think this is enough to keep Anthony Davis around? But no, because Boogie was there, and they didn't do well together either. It's not like that team played that well.
It's not enough unless one other player
at least.
One other player was like, you know what? I want to go play with Anthony Davis and Zion.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden...
And there would have to be a guard. A great guard, yeah.
There'd have to be Kyrie Irving or Damian Lillard or something like that.
To be honest, man. To be honest, Zion's young, so he's going to have his rough edges. It's not like he's going to come in and dominate. I mean, do you even think... Let's say Kyrie did go there. This never happened. Anthony Davis stayed. None of that will happen. But I don't think Kyrie, AD, and Zion is good enough to maybe even win the West or the East. Because the 76ers are going to be have another year under their belts. All of those players are going to get better.
Okay.
Right? And then Milwaukee's going to be the same. They may add someone. So, I mean, I don't even think that team that we just made up, hypothetically, would even be good enough to beat anyone.
I think it would be... You're right.
Even in the East.
See what Zion is.
Yeah. Even in the East, you know. And then there's no way that they would risk that and then get nothing for Anthony Davis because he'd be gone the year after, right? So he's demanded the trade, essentially. What do you think?
They trade, if they were in the...
I was talking to Zachary.
If they were in the East or they're in the West, but if they were in the East, it was not good enough.
Yeah. When I was saying that, I was acting like they were in the East. Yeah, but they're in the West. You're right. I'm sorry.
But you're saying if they were in the East, it still is not good enough to even win the East.
Yeah, they wouldn't even beat the East, let alone... That team doesn't beat the Rockets either, by the way, I don't think. I think the Rockets need something else.
Even if they got another player.
Who?
The Pelicans.
Yeah, if they got Kyrie.
But none of it's going to happen. That's why it was so sad of a moment for Zion.
Yeah.
Because Anthony's leaving, nobody else is going to want to come, and he's just going to be stuck there in the black hole of New Orleans for
Which
6
is sad,
years.
because New Orleans is very, very famous for everything else, you know.
Well, for what? Gumbo and
Saints. For like partying. The Saints do well there.
I know the Saints, but that's
the Saints
football.
do well there, yeah.
It's not like a basketball.
It should be a basketball town. It has a high African American population. It should be a basketball town. I don't know why. Once they start winning, it becomes a basketball town. That's the problem. Is that actually with New Orleans in general, if you think about it, they've always had the one great Hall of Fame level player. Because before AD, it was Chris Paul, and Chris Paul was just dying there
because it's the black hole.
Yeah, it was before they were called the Pelicans. But Chris Paul was dying there. They couldn't get another player. The player was so good that they weren't last place and weren't getting additional first picks.
But nobody wants to... It's a place where
Chris
people
Paul
want to leave, not go.
Exactly. Or they just can't put it together with a bunch of good players at once. They tried with Boogie, but there were still injuries on both sides. And the NBA is not a league where you can play with just big men anymore. You know what I mean? In the 90s, if Karl Malone and Olajuwon played together, they might be unbeatable. You know? But in this climate... And there were injuries a couple of years ago, but Boogie...
He wasn't ready to dominate, though.
AD was.
No, Boogie.
Boogie was, too.
He was kind of just like injury prone. Are you serious? What are you doing, bro?
I'm doing the sniff.
I know.
I'm doing the sniff.
This guy, can we get over this? We're trying to talk about sports, but I'm getting these... I know the sniff. I've seen, the look up. We keep talking about this, but we got to just get off this case.
But we still have to pause it because he took a shit.
All right, we'll be right back after a sponsor from Pepe's Tacos.
Pepe's Tacos. Okay, no more shit talking. Anyway, what were we? We were talking about Anthony Davis,
New Orleans, the Zion thing. It's just the black hole.
So it's a black hole. They always get this great. We don't really know what Zion's going to do, but. They basically have this history of the last 10 years or so having Chris Paul, who's first ballot Hall of Famer, Anthony Davis, who looks like he's going to be arguably the best player in the league. Yeah. If someone said, I don't agree with it, I still say Durant, but if someone said he's the best player in the league, I would be like, you're a fucking idiot.
Who?
Anthony Davis. If someone said it. And then, and now Zion, who could be the next transcendent player kind of guy. So they just can't keep him long enough to put them all on one team together, you know?
No, and by the time he gets in his prime, will be the time his contract is
about to leave,
and he goes somewhere else.
He'll be demanding a trade, you know. So, New Orleans is tough. There's also talk that they might trade Anthony Davis and trade this pick and get a whole bunch of other picks, basically long-term tank. And they're one of the teams that people are saying could be a Las Vegas team soon. Yeah, I'd like that.
I never heard that.
I've been hearing about it. More on Vegas local radio. Obviously, Vegas local radio is listening for any team to just become a Vegas basketball team, because that's the sport now that's easiest to bring in.
I thought we were going to get baseball next.
Well, we've talked about the sport that's easiest to bring in is basketball, because the arena's built.
I know. Yeah. We already have a bunch of arenas.
Well, we need just the one, the T-Mobile Arena, yeah. Because
the
baseball team wouldn't play in the Raiders Stadium. No one does that anymore. They need their own baseball stadium.
So you're saying they already have everything lined up. They already have everything lined up.
So you just
T-Mobile is like a basketball, hockey arena.
Yeah, it'd be easy to bring one in, right? And the talk is them would be one of the teams, or if they move out of New Orleans, it'd be like Seattle or us.
Yeah, I think like certain teams like Sacramento or all these certain teams, like they have a great fan base, but see Vegas, if we get a team, basically anything, the Raiders are going to do great here. The Knights are doing good. But are we really ready for like 4 professional teams?
I'd love to see 4.
Eventually we might get it.
6 years out. You know what I mean? Basketball can happen at any moment. Someone can decide.
We're already leading the Pacific Coast League in attendance because we had a new stadium.
Have a new stadium. That happens in the new stadium.
Yeah, even the Cashman though, we were like 10th. We were still good. It was just like
we're still a big city. Yeah. We're right in the middle there. So anyway, enough of New Orleans. It is what it is. That's the lottery. Now, how did you feel in general? Not just the teams, but the lottery is pretty fun half hour of excitement to me for something where you're just pulling names out of a hat.
It's the Keno balls. It's kind of like the effect. You just want to see who gets the number 1, 2, 3, 4, even if you like the team or not. It was fun to see. So like Memphis got second. The Knicks.
So Morant's going to Memphis.
Yeah, Morant's it's like
RJ Barrett's going to.
Well, see, like Barrett, he could easily be picked second because John Morant's like good, but like I don't know, he's just a high dunker. Like he's not.
Well, people say John Morant's more ready. I think John Morant might have a better year than Zion.
Well, I'm just saying I could easily see Memphis picking
Barrett. A lot of people don't like Barrett. People are saying Barrett's the unsure one.
So Knicks are picking third, and then Lakers 4th.
Yeah, and Lakers 4th. So the Lakers end up. So I think it's obvious who 1 through 3 is going to be, whatever order you think it is. Zion, Morant,
probably
RJ Barrett. So the Lakers actually fall off a little. Who knows what they'll pick? But
it's interesting just because.
So here's the thing too, and this is what I want to talk about tanking. So they actually made it. So under the old rules, the Knicks actually would have a 25% chance at first. But now they only had something like a 14% chance, which is still good. So they didn't end up getting it. And so now I think this is, teams still tanked really bad on the way in. But now I think they realize that there's less reward for tanking.
Yeah,
and you get a lot, when you tank, people talk a lot of shit about you. It's the fans dislike you. They want your GM fired, kind of thing. So do you think it's effective, or do you think there's a better way to deal with the tanking problem and do a lottery? Some people are just saying, hey, you should, like soccer, you should be able to sign where you want. Not relegate. I would say relegate. That's a little extreme. That's a little extreme, but forget about that because that's a little extreme.
Yeah.
Some people are starting to say, which is still extreme, but less so, there shouldn't even be a draft. Once you're eligible for the NBA, you should just be able to sign where you want.
So for any sport?
Well, I'm talking basketball right now. So what do you think if Zion just got to sign wherever he wanted, whoever could pay him the most?
No.
There could still be a salary cap.
The balance would be crazy, right? Wouldn't all the...
Soccer's like that.
Yeah. Well, if you could sign anywhere, wouldn't like the big market teams just dominate?
Still be crazy? They could, but there'd still be a... There'd still be a salary cap.
There's still there. So
maybe they would, but maybe not. Maybe you want to go where you could be led. Maybe you want to go to a good coach, kind of thing.
So so you're saying just to randomly, do you have to play? Would you still have to play a year of college or two? Or you just...
let's take that out of the picture. Either way, could you sign anywhere? I don't think you should have to play a year of college, but that's a different. Either way, what if you could sign anywhere? It doesn't change whether you play college.
Well, if there's still kind of a salary cap, still a lot of the best players would go to the big market teams.
They would. So that happens in soccer too, by the way. Yeah. Like they go to Manchester United, they go to Barcelona,
They team up. You got
He's asking you to leave. He's giving you your shoes.
Oh man, he's like, get out of here. Okay, so what was the other thing you were saying? You were saying if there's different ways with the not relegate, but you were saying
not
they
relegate, sign wherever. I'm saying, what can you do about tanking in now? Tanking's a problem everywhere. Let's say in general.
I wasn't listening to what you were asking.
Yeah, let's say in general. That was one of my ideas that actually has nothing to do with tanking, really. But
here's another. Okay,
what do you really do about tanking? Because 16 teams make the playoffs, but even if you just did 8 teams make the playoffs, you'd still have the situation now where this 9th best team would probably try to tank.
Okay, so how about the best teams get the best picks? Now you can't do that because then they would just totally dominate.
That throws it the other way.
But then you can't. Then that would take care of tanking, though.
It would take care of tanking, but it throws it the other way a little bit.
So
it throws it the other way.
Something in the middle. Then.
Could you imagine the Warriors getting Zion?
Well. Yeah, so that's why you can't do that. Yeah. But then that would take care of the tanking.
That's a fun idea. This is like just brainstorming, say anything. No one would ever be...
How about this? How about the East...
super lottery.
No, how about this? How about the East Finals... The East Finals losers and the West Final losers are the first and second picks. So you're not going to lose on purpose in those situations because you're one game away from the championship.
Yeah.
But
it's
you
a
also
reward.
Didn't tank and you get rewarded.
I mean, this is a fun brainstorm, say any idea, but none of them are realistic, right? I'm not saying you're not.
I actually like that. I'm serious.
I'm not saying your idea is not bad. It's just not realistic. It's never going to happen. You're never going to do that.
It's not totally realistic.
Okay, give me odds on that happening. I'll bet you $10,000.
No, here's my point.
That's what I'm saying.
You're saying a way to get away from tanking. So you have to be in the playoffs, and you have to be good. So that's going to get rid of tanking. I'm not
saying it's a bad idea.
You're not going to reward the Warriors.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea.
I'm just saying.
I'm saying it's not going to happen. No one's going to be for it. I'm saying that if you gave me odds on that, I'd give you 10,000 to 1 that wouldn't happen in the next 5 years. I'm saying I like that we're doing this. Because most sports shows, this is what they do. They try to just talk about, like, they're taking it too seriously. What we're doing here is crazy brainstorming, relegating, and what was my other idea? Oh, no draft, which is crazy.
That's
for American
more or less
sports
likely to happen because
no draft is way more likely to happen because it happens under this. Than your idea?
Yeah,
you're preposterous. Your idea is weird.
No, your idea.
I'm not saying your idea is better or worse.
Teams want control. They're not going to just let.
You know why it's not going to happen? No one talked about it. At least people are talking about no draft.
Nobody's just going to let any player go anywhere. The teams lose control that way. They're just not going to do that.
But that's how other sports in the world work.
Never agree to that.
That's how other sports in the world work.
Do you agree? The owners would never agree to that.
No, I agree. I'm saying both are never going to happen, but one at least happens in sports. Yours is a cool idea. For some reason, you want me to fucking say that, oh, that's a worthy idea that everyone's going to accept, and people are talking about it, and it might happen. No, it'll never happen.
Well, your idea
it's less likely to happen than my idea.
No, dude, no.
Are you on drugs?
No. Let's get off of this.
So anyway, what I was trying to say is I like most sports talk shows where only talk about what everyone is already talking about with the CBA. I like our brainstorm idea where we're just throwing out crazy shit.
Isn't that how you get stuff done?
Well,
brainstorming.
Well,
you have to throw out the ideas to
listen,
get the idea.
In a business situation, when I'm at meetings and we need to figure something out, I love the crazy shit. No one says you have to do it.
Yeah,
it's good to throw out the crazy shit. Yeah.
And usually it's your crazy shit with the other guy's crazy shit, and then you combine it, and now you have a great
idea. You combine it and take some of the craziest stuff out and combine it, and you figure something out. So let's talk NBA playoffs now. We did enough on the lottery. So before, much like our Game of Thrones podcast, it is a little bit too late, but I would like to talk about the Rockets. Now, the Rockets lose, and here's my problem. Everyone knew that they're going to lose. No one's going to really beat Golden State, especially if Durant's healthy. But when the Rockets lose, everyone's like, something has to change. These people are bad. No, they're not bad. They built a good team under the circumstances. It's just no one's as good as Golden State.
Well, they're like the Utah Jazz and the New York Knicks of the 90s.
I would say like Utah Jazz and...
Because they're like one of the better teams, but they just can't get past the Bulls.
Yeah, there's a team that's legitimately the best team.
Yeah, and the Rockets are right there.
Yeah, so you go, well, we need to change something. This doesn't work. No, the Rockets have a great team. They have an MVP. Sometimes throwing up threes, you get cold. That's the risk of threes.
Well, they might have made the finals this year if they were in the East.
Yeah.
So that's another thing.
Yeah.
Can't we? Aren't they on the verge? That's another thing that needs to happen. You just need to help out the top certain teams. it shouldn't matter if they're in the East or the West.
Yeah, exactly. So on the Rockets side, a lot of people are like, things have to change, and obviously you need to make changes because you're trying to win. But a lot of people think like there's something big has to, like something's not working. The truth is it's all working. Well, if Chris Paul was a little more healthy, that's the only thing. But it's working. Shooting a lot of threes is working. Giving Harden the ball.
Aren't they one
player away? Giving Harden the ball is working. Chris Paul, he used to be ball dominant, but he gets injured so much. It's better that he's not as ball dominant with Harden. I think he fits great with Harden.
So is it style of play that needs to be tweaked a little, or roster?
Well, it's got to be roster because you're playing Golden State, who lost the best player in the league and was still clearly a better team than ever. Without Durant, I think Golden State is still the favorite. I think they beat Milwaukee.
I know that's what's crazy.
That's what's crazy, right? So, but people that talk about the Rockets, they talk about like if they're a last place team, like things need to change. I agree, things need to change because you got to do something to beat Golden State, but it's not bad. The Rockets are still a great team. D'Antoni's strategy is correct.
I'm picking
the middle.
Shooting
threes is great.
Shooting threes is great. It's fun. But I'm picking the middle. They need a roster to tweak, and they need a style of player to tweak.
Well, what style of play?
Well, the reason I say that, like last year, in one of those games, I don't know if it was the game 6 or 7 West, whatever it was, they were up like 20 points, remember?
Oh, but they got...
And they lost because they missed 27 threes in a row.
Yeah, but that was just out there.
I'm just saying.
Crazy.
I'm just saying. So, like... You could definitely win a lot of games shooting threes when Harden's on fire, certain players are on fire. You're going to win a lot of games doing that, but they also need to maybe go inside a little more. Yeah, you can't live and die by the three. Like if they would have just,
you can because they make it. You can just get cold.
They've lived and died by the three.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is, if you're on the 19th missing a 3 in a row last year, if they would have won the side a few times, they might have won that game.
What's funny though,
you know what I mean? You have to tweak the way you play.
I'm not going to like disagree with that because you should do something else, but I would say if you're the best, basically the best 3-point shooting team in history as far as making them and doing them with that strategy, if you miss 19 in a row, the odds say that you're going to hit the next 14 out of 15. You know what I'm saying? So 19 in a row. Listen, I'm not saying... I'm saying that, okay, you live and die by the three. Sometimes it happens. That's the way we used to think. Yeah. D'Antoni's style of play, aligns with the analytics, and it has been good. But if you go cold in the playoffs, you're fucked.
Yeah, you just can't go on that big a scoring drought.
But in my head, what you need is So Trevor Ariza was a good spot for this last year. I think you can even get better than Ariza. Is a great rebounder. And one who can focus on offensive rebounds.
Isn't Capella a pretty good rebounder?
Capella is good. Listen, I like Clint Capella, but he's not the great center I think we thought he was going to be. He's just a really good starter. I think you need a power forward type player, a real rebounder. Because let's say you miss 27 threes, but if you get 10 of those offensive rebounds, those are second chance points or another opportunity to three.
Another opportunity to miss 3.
Or to miss. But still,
yeah,
if you get the offensive rebound, you get another shot at it. And so I think getting those offensive rebounds, and I think that happened, by the way, too, in this last game where they lost. I think they were just getting killed on the offensive rebound side. They weren't getting any, is what I want to say.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just like, okay, it's time to overhaul the team. If you overhaul the team, you're going to be in the fucking lottery. The team is one of the best teams in the league right now. You just need a little bit of a roster tweak.
They need that big spot, they need that one player to just say, I'm going to Houston. And now we have a great
and they're one of the few
Western
teams
Finals.
They're one of the few teams that just need a true all-star big man. Most of these teams have this big man, but it's a guard game now. But they have 2 of the best guards in the game.
And so they need Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis became... That's the only way I can see them beating Golden State. And next year it will be without Durant, right? But Golden State will still be one of the favorites. If they got Anthony Davis, that shit's over. But the problem is that Anthony Davis isn't signing somewhere. He needs to be traded. So what are the Rockets going to trade? They don't have anything to trade for Anthony Davis. They probably don't have cap room.
They would have to trade.
They're paying Chris Paul way too much. It's like at $40 million.
So they would have to trade like multiple draft picks and something.
And they tried that. They tried to give 4 draft picks for last year.
And isn't Anthony Davis going to the East probably because the New Orleans wants him out of the West? They don't want to see him.
Yeah, but people don't do that as much anymore. But we'll see what happens there. I mean, you want the money. You want money, you're going to get money kind of thing. So they may not want him in the West, but it doesn't matter. If the team that's going to give the best deal is in the West, that's what they're going.
And Houston's kind of like a destination, but not really. I mean, people want to play there, but not like it's not like a big time.
It's not like New York or something like that.
But it's still obviously like hard.
It's not bad though.
Yeah. Chris Paul. I mean, these guys are wanting to play there.
Yeah. So, I just want to talk about Houston. That it's not everyone's just talking dismantle and acting just because you lose to Golden State. Everyone would lose to Golden State. There's a good chance that the 1996 Bulls would lose to this Golden State team with Durant healthy. So.
Oh, I disagree with that, but I do.
I mean, I said there's a chance.
Yeah. It's one of the best teams ever.
I think it is better than the Jordan team with Rodman. I think it is, but I digress. I don't want to get into that. So so now let's talk about. So there's the West matchup, but after last night's game, it looks like the Blazers might be a little bit too. Maybe not built to beat a team that's built better than them. But the real matchup, the good matchup, is in the East. Let's talk about that. Start the talk there.
All right. So in the East, which starts tonight.
Versus Giannis.
Which would be after, you'll see it. You'll be here this podcast tomorrow. Hopefully today. We'll see. But East game 1's tonight. It's Milwaukee Bucks versus Toronto Raptors. We have two of the better players in the NBA playing in that game. You got Kawhi Leonard. And you got the Greek Freak and Giannis. And I'm thinking Milwaukee wins tonight by about 11 points. They're at home. It's a big matchup. But
who did you pick?
Milwaukee by 11. Just tonight. I mean, they're at home.
No. But since this is a weekly show, give it.
Well, no. I said Toronto versus Golden State 2 months ago.
Oh, you did. That's right.
So, I mean,
you still think Toronto, yeah?
Obviously, I think Toronto wins the series. Just, I'm saying, my game 1, I'm thinking Milwaukee wins. But it's two great players that are probably going to go head to head. These guys are high flyers. They're like 8 feet in length.
I think I think that's a big deal because we often want to match up players, but these two are actually going to be covering each other. Or for at least, I mean, Kawhi will definitely be covering Giannis, but
for a little bit. I mean, Giannis who else could stop him?
Yeah, Kawhi's going to for sure. I don't know if Giannis
not the whole
necessarily is going to be covering Kawhi, but
yeah.
So it's actually a matchup. And, you have to give Giannis, even though Kawhi is no slouch on offense, you got to give Giannis the offensive strength. And even though Giannis is no slouch on defense, you got to give Kawhi, obviously, Kawhi's probably one of the best defenders in the league, if not the best. So it's actually a really fun matchup where, hey, maybe these two are going to cancel each other out, and it's all about the number 2 players and the number 3 players and the bench and stuff, So I love that matchup. Yeah, it's been a long time since you can be really excited about an East matchup.
It's exactly. And it's something that you kind of want to watch because those are two good players.
Yeah.
So who do you think is going to win?
I'm going to go Toronto in 6. What do you got? Toronto and how many?
I have no idea. Just Toronto.
Well, just Toronto, but just name one.
Well, I mean, Toronto in 7.
Okay. Oh, Game 7. That's even more. I hope it does go to Game 7.
Yeah.
Because that's exciting. So you think you pick Toronto, but you think that they're that close, huh?
Well, just to make it fun.
Experience.
Just to make it. I mean, I'm saying Milwaukee. I think wins tonight. So maybe Toronto wins Game 2. I'm just going to say 7.
Yeah. Not bad. So
we'll see.
You don't seem sure, like you wouldn't make a bet on it.
I mean, Toronto needs to beat them in 5. To be honest with you, because they need to get ready to play Golden State.
Be restful.
Yeah. So let me change it right now. Toronto in 5.
You're switching it?
Yeah.
So 4-1. So Milwaukee wins today and they don't win any other game.
Yeah.
See, if you
That's a
think,
big
I would
switch,
say,
huh?
yeah, it is.
That's a big
I would
switch.
say if you say Milwaukee wins today, I don't know that I see Toronto winning 4 in a row.
So it has to go 6 or 7.
Well, I mean, it's not like we're betting this. We're betting each other.
Yeah.
But
Well, so it would be just...
you want to take 5? You want to take 7? You can't take 6 because I chose it?
Yeah.
You could just say 6.
No, you're right,
6.
though. 6 would probably be the best one. I can't say 6. Because if I'm saying Milwaukee today, then that would be... You're right. Then Toronto would have to win in Milwaukee and then win 2 at home and then win again.
Yeah.
That is hard.
It would be 4. They'd have to win 4 in a row.
They say it's hard to beat any team 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Good team 3 in a row. I'm saying 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Which is
and these
stupid.
teams are pretty close to each other, So That is a great matchup, and it's just as far as the conference finals matchups, it's just a more fun one to watch because the best team is over in the West, but even though the Rockets were fourth seed, I think they were fourth seed. That was still, I think, the best chance to beat the.
What are you talking about?
The Golden State Warriors.
Oh.
But now the Blazers who fought and clawed and beat Denver. I don't think they're just built to beat Golden State. I mean, the simple fact is, as good as Lillard is, I'm a huge Lillard fan. I'm a huge CJ fan, but that duo is just not as good as Curry and Klay Thompson.
No,
it's just not as good. They're great, but not as good.
It's like one of the better duos in the league.
Yeah,
and even if
duos.
Yeah, even if it was almost a push. Golden State still has Durant.
Comeback game 2 or 3.
Draymond Green. I mean, Golden State's still like a better team. Yeah, just a better team. Like,
and then his name slips my mind because it's a European player. It'd be nice if he were there.
Who you talking about for Golden State?
No, for the Blazers. I have the note here, and I know. Nurkic is no Jokic, but Nurkic is still good. It would have been nice to have a big like that.
The reason you get confused too, they're both centers. Nurkic, Jokic. It's almost the same name.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's
completely opposite, but it sounds almost the same.
Yeah, and they're
Nurkic,
not from the same. One is Slovenian, I think.
You're getting
and one is
the itches.
Yeah, the itches. And I mean, my wife's Polish, so there's plenty of there's plenty of those C's at the end of names. Yeah, but. Okay, anyway, it'd be nice if Nurkic was there, but even if Nurkic is there, that's not as good as like Draymond Green being, pulling rebounds and playing that strong position inside the arc, So it's just they're just not. The Blazers like almost look like the G League team built just the G League team, built similar to the Warriors, but just not at the level, like the easier version.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not going to be good enough.
Yeah, it won't. And it might even be a sweep, to be honest, unfortunately. I mean, maybe there's a big shot or the Blazers can keep it close and they win something at the end. They've been doing that a lot lately. They, in that last...
Maybe get a game at home or if Durant doesn't come back in time or something like that.
Something like that. I mean, Durant will be back by game... I guarantee he's playing game 3. Unless they're just smashing him and they're like, well, let's let Durant rest a little more. Yeah. So there's a chance for that to happen too. So we hit that. Now let's just do a little bit of baseball. So
what's going on in the baseball world?
Well, I know what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how you keep saying every week the Indians are about to play really well, and it just hasn't came together. So I don't want you to tell me that they're going to play great. They'll be in first place. I already know you think that
came together.
No, I already know you think that. Tell me.
I think that
tell me what new stuff.
9-0 yesterday.
That's fine, but they're still in second place. They're still underperforming for their talent. Even I think.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, Kluber's hurt. They're...
So what's going to happen? What needs to happen for that to build? Because Kluber's gone for a while now, right?
Well, the teams that I mentioned recently that are on the way up, I think are about to move on the way up. Just give it about another month. Boston
What team?
Red Sox.
Oh,
the Cleveland Indians. Certain teams, you have to give it a little time. We're at the beginning of the year.
Well, you got some injuries, but I mean, it hasn't turned around though. Is my thing.
My thing is they're exactly where they.
Oh, they're 4.5 games behind the Twins.
And like the Astros are going to move up too. There's certain teams that
the Astros are 7 games ahead of the Mariners. Dude, the Astros are the best team in the league. There's no moving up.
No,
they're playing the best team in the league.
They're not even ranked in. I did a top 5 thing recently.
Who did?
And I did. Well, I commented on a top 5 thing, and then I gave my top 5, so I did it.
Yeah.
I commented on somebody else's. The Astros weren't in it. The Boston Red Sox were in it.
The Astros should be at the top of every...
Maybe the Astros
the Astros should be at the top.
I said they're going to move up.
No, the Astros should be at the top of every power rankings.
The Rays were in it, which I think they're going to move down. The Yankees were in it. They're going to move down. I moved up Boston. I moved up Cleveland. And then I moved up the Brewers, maybe. There's a few teams where... There's a top 5, but I'm just saying I think certain teams are going to move up.
I mean, the Astros should
Dodgers
be
are definitely up there. They're playing great.
Yeah, they're playing well. They're just the Astros should be at the top of every power ranking right now. The Dodgers are just very well balanced. They can lose a guy and then still be expected to win. It helps that Bellinger's looking like an MVP. Yeah. And then just a bunch of other guys are playing pretty well, Like Justin Turner is barely starting to play well, and people didn't even notice that he wasn't playing well at the beginning of the year kind of thing, So...
You're looking at a top 5 list?
Well, I'm looking at the latest power rankings. This is just Yahoo, the first thing I Googled. You got Astros first, and that's for sure. Dodgers second is reasonable. Twins have been playing well, but I do think... Well, for right now, they're definitely better than Cleveland. But I do think that by the end of the year, Cleveland will be in first place. The Twins are moving a little slower than I thought, but there's still a lot. We can see the talent there. Look, there's a good chance that unless you're in Minnesota, you don't know just how good the Twins' offense has been this season. The problem isn't the offense. The problem is they spent a lot of money on offense with Nelson Cruz and stuff, but their pitching is iffy. But there is talk about who going to the Twins. Bumgarner. About a trade, because last year, he's definitely going to be traded this year. But him going to the Twins might make me switch my...
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, because I might say that the Twins probably are equal or maybe better with offensively to the Indians. But the Indians murder.
Still going to certain teams could change the outcome of some games here.
I agree.
I mean, if you went anywhere. The Cubs are who I moved down to in my other poll, and I had the Phillies moving up. It was the Phillies, Indians, Red Sox.
But for you go, these teams will be here in the future. This is telling you the power rankings today. This is telling you how good they've been playing, right? So you're saying at the end of the year, Cleveland will be up here. Phillies will be up here. I don't know.
Red Sox.
Yeah. I mean, I still think if the Yankees are healthy, I think they might be better than the Red Sox. Because the Red Sox were playing last year with Mookie Betts, who that's probably going to be the best year of his career. He had a year like Mike Trout. He's not Mike Trout.
They're also missing David Price.
Yeah. I mean, David Price played well in the playoffs. He didn't play well in the regular season. What were we saying?
Well,
what do you? So I know you're never going to fucking admit it, but the Twins are good.
No, the Twins should be
good. But if they get Bumgarner, if they get Bumgarner, let's say at the middle of the season, and let's say at the middle of the season, the Twins and Cleveland have the same record. If they get Bumgarner, would you be willing to predict the Twins to get first place?
No.
Yeah, you'll never do that.
No, the Indian staff would still be better than the Twins staff.
It doesn't matter if it's not better. It doesn't matter that it's better.
What if Bumgarner goes to the Indians?
Well, I mean,
here's what I'm telling you.
The Indians are pretty stacked
anywhere changes the landscape of the playoffs in the World Series, right? Bumgarner's that guy. If he goes to any team and he's their number 3 or 4 or whatever, or you know how
he just sighed because the way you talk about the Indians.
I'm saying Bumgarner can go to any team and change. So that's a huge.
He's good. Obviously, he's good enough. He's not the Bumgarner he was, but he's good enough to change something. I mean, the other idea is that he might go to San Diego. I don't know that that's enough to still beat the Dodgers, though. Him in San Diego.
Well, the Giants have ultimate respect for Bumgarner. So Bumgarner. No, so
Bumgarner's a piece of shit, though.
Well, you're saying they're going to get rid of him, but when they're going to try to help him out and put him somewhere that he wants to go, right?
Yeah. Well, he also. So here's the other thing with his contract. He has an 8-team no trade. He can deny 8 teams, and he denied. It was basically a money move. Yeah, he denied the 8 teams that would probably want him. So for him,
if he
you have to pay him more.
He would have to go against his no trade clause and make more money.
Yeah, and that's the idea. Yeah. He picked those teams like Houston and San Diego, I think.
It's not really teams that he wouldn't want to go to.
But it's teams that hey, it's no trade, you got to give me more money to go there.
Which is the team that would want him. Teams that would want him.
I hate Madison Bumgarner.
What did he do to you?
He's a shitball.
Why is it? Just because he...
Here's what I'm saying, dude.
That's just because that's your rivalry with the Dodgers.
I hate all the Giants, but I'm saying that if he was... not the sort of good old boy tractor driving white guy. Mm-hmm. The things that he's done and said to pitchers, they would have been calling him a thug and he should be in jail. Or to batters. Yasiel Puig is the best example. Can you imagine? If he was? Could you imagine if he was a black or Mexican player and he walked up to people and go, "Don't look at me! Don't look at me." Right? He was like, that guy's a thug. Who the fuck is that guy? And then he's throwing 100-mile ball. He's a piece of shit.
You know how you throw the ball?
He's a shitty human
being. You throw the ball towards somebody to back him off the plate? That's just a mind game.
That's a mind game.
So
but I'm
he's telling you, don't look
saying,
at him.
No.
He's just doing a mind game.
No, that's great. I love mind games. I'm saying that it's accepted from him, and it's bullshit because he's a piece of shit. He's a shitball. He's a bad attitude shitball. You don't like
him because you're a Dodgers fan.
He's a bad attitude.
Now I will say I like Kershaw more than Bumgarner.
I love Bumgarner too.
No, I do.
And he throws at batters. I'm old school.
Everybody throws at batters.
No, not everybody. Kershaw doesn't.
Kershaw would if he has to. This is if you have to. If somebody threw at your batter, you know how that works.
Yeah, but Kershaw doesn't. Kershaw doesn't hit people on purpose.
No, if he had to, he would.
I'm telling you, he doesn't.
No, when has he ever? If he had to, he would. But no, you don't need to though. He doesn't need to.
Bumgarner throws at people to get revenge, and Kershaw doesn't. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I know a lot of other pitchers do it too, so I'm not talking shit on Bumgarner. That he's old school that way, but he's a dude.
Well, we'll see. Well, let's talk about Kershaw for a minute.
Okay.
The Dodgers.
I love the stat.
Yeah, the Dodgers are 14-0. Kershaw's last 14 starts.
So that's big for a lot of reasons. That's interesting for a lot of reasons. Why do you think it's interesting, Zachary?
Because he's a rebel. So we both thought that you would think that the Dodgers record would be very good his last 14 starts.
Yeah, because he's still one of the best players. But when you consider that all the talk last year was about his velocity being down, and you consider the fact that there's no decisions worked in there, because if in the last 14 games they have 14 wins. I guess there could be no decisions. All it says is that they won.
It'd just be a win. It'd just be the win. It would be like that Chris Sale game yesterday.
That's crazy. That game was crazy.
They lost.
He has 17. What did he end up with? 18?
17 Ks.
Ooh.
So, yeah, that's not saying that it's 14 in a row Kershaw wins, but it's just Dodger wins.
Dodgers won with him starting. So he could have left the game tied or losing by 1-0 or something like that.
But it's still kind of interesting stat.
I'm curious what his ERA and WHIP were in those 14 games.
I don't know, but
and if the playoffs are included,
you would have to think that the Dodgers mentally. What is he eating, dude?
He's eating Cheerios.
Oh, just sounded like he was chewing on something that wasn't a Cheerio.
Sounded
like glass or something.
I mean, I put some ground glass in it.
Are those like?
I'm trying to make
glass
stronger.
Chips. Do you make this kid walk on glass, like to try to get his feet?
He eats glass, walks on fire.
You're trying to prepare him for life.
Yeah, this is the Adrian Peterson parenting school.
Bro, this kid was eating glass and walking in glass by age 2.
Yeah, the other day I asked him to get a switch out from the backyard.
So back to the Kershaw thing. Mentally, the Dodgers always feel better when you have Kershaw on the mound.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I want to see what happens with his. That's not true, actually. Mentally, in the playoffs, you don't. Whoa. You're afraid of that now. You're actually afraid of it. You're like, "Ooh, what's going to happen?" And it's in his head too. I think
it's in his head now. It wasn't before. Before it was everybody.
I think maybe it's still not in his head because he's that kind of player. But now it's when you're starting to question it. The question now is that I don't know that the velocity is coming back for Kershaw. The question is can he be the Mariano Rivera of starters? Because you remember Mariano Rivera had a bad year or two when he lost velocity as a closer. And then all he did was, he spent a whole career just having one pitch, and then he learned other pitches. So can Kershaw be more of a control guy now if he's, losing 4 miles per hour on his average pitch? Now, can he be more of a control guy? He pitches 4 pitches already. But now how can he use those so he's not just getting people out with heat? So that's the question for Kershaw the next 4 years of his career.
He uses that junk anyway.
Yeah.
And then Kershaw just needs to incorporate a little more Metallica music in his arsenal.
He's too Christian for that.
Yeah.
He loves Jesus too much. So not Metallica, maybe like Living Sacrifice, which by the way comes full circle because you were complaining that we don't put music on at the beginning of the show, and the music I used to put on was Living Sacrifice, the Christian Metallica. Not that we're Christian, but
I'm definitely Christian.
Whatever. The Christian Metallica. And I used it just because I knew no one would know it, but it was great riffs,
So anyway. Are we getting back to the music?
We will, dude. I gotta be a better producer.
That for years.
I gotta be a better producer.
We need to get back to the music.
Am I a shitty producer?
No, you're not. We just need to get back to the music. We need to get back to our original
Am I a shitty host and producer? Just be honest. Or am I slacking?
No, you're slacking for sure. That's
I'm
a good
slacking.
word.
Oh, you're saying I'm capable, but I'm slacking.
You're definitely not useless but you're slacking.
I could be doing better.
Yeah, I mean, the show could be like twice as good, but if we were twice as good,
then
we'd be getting paid and be in the studio right now.
Yeah, but if we were twice as good, I couldn't say this is the DIY podcast.
No, I mean, is that what
it'd still be DIY.
You just like DIY?
I don't, dude. There's a part of me that likes just doing podcasts,
or DIY, whatever.
DIY,
yeah.
Doing podcasts in the fucking parking lot, drinking beers.
I mean, the chaotic aspect of it is part of the show.
Yeah, but it could be chaotic with better microphones.
Yes, better microphones, which we have,
and music,
and all the little technical stuffs.
This has been another episode of Chaotic Sports. You got everything you needed, a bunch of shit, literally, and about sports. You could find us at Chaotic Sports on Twitter, at Chris Sarda on Twitter, also chaoticsports.com. Thank you guys for listening. You guys have a wonderful day, and ciao. Ciao in a second. Oh, he said ciao.